So Joseph Gordon-Levitt, I'm really excited to meet you.
Oh, thanks. I'm excited to meet you.
Thank you. I'm a huge fan of yours, and this new movie, Don John, coming out later on in September. First of all, you wrote, directed, and you star in it.
Yes, ma'am.
It's quite a tall order, no?
It's a lot of work. I like to work.
Yeah, and so how did you first of all come up with this whole concept? Because I read the synopsis, and I was like, this guy's obsessed with porn, like what the heck, it just sounds ridiculous, but it's a really good movie.
Well,
it's
thank you.
Awesome.
Thanks.
So how'd you come up with the whole thing?
Well, I wanted to tell a story kind of about how sometimes people treat each other more like things than like people, and how the media can play into that. And I guess it's because, I'm an actor, and I've been working as an actor since I was a kid, and actors sometimes get treated a little weird, more like objects on a shelf than like people. But I don't think it's just actors. I think everybody does it to each other. I mean, I'm sure you've had this experience where you're talking to someone and you feel like they're not really listening to you.
Of course.
They're sort of already decided what you are. So I wanted to kind of tell a story about that and how TV and movies and radio and music videos and pornography and commercials and newspapers and romance novels, how all these things kind of can affect that and create these expectations of what a man is supposed to be, or a woman is supposed to be, or love is supposed to be, or sex is supposed to be. And I just think a lot of that stuff is worth making fun of, so I made a comedy about it.
And writing in some of those scenes, I mean, I gotta imagine, are some of those scenes, were they tough to film? Meaning some of the more graphic ones?
There's nothing really graphic in the movie. It kind of comes off that way.
I guess you're right.
In the story, you don't see anything, and when you're shooting it, you're assembling these little puzzle pieces.
Yeah.
When all the puzzle pieces get put together, it tells a story that feels sexy.
Yeah.
But when you're shooting it actually doesn't.
Okay, interesting. Even with all these people watching, right?
Exactly. That's
why it's not.
No.
Yeah. And so Don John, where did this guy come from? I know last night in the Q&A you said a little bit you had never seen Jersey Shore before.
No,
but I was like, at the whole movie, I was like, he's totally basing this on the situation. But you had no idea who it was.
It's more like John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever, or Rocky. This is just a classic American character, this guy. And I hadn't seen Jersey Shore when I was writing it. I've since watched it because people keep bringing it up. I couldn't watch much more than one episode of it.
You didn't really like it that much.
I didn't, no.
Yeah.
But I certainly don't fault any of the people that are in it for that. Those shows are not any realer than a movie like this.
Right. And Tony Danza, too, makes an appearance in this one.
Isn't Tony so good in it?
He is so good in it.
Yeah.
He is so good. And I'm not used to seeing him, or I don't think really many people are that mean.
Exactly. Well, naturally, he's such a nice guy. He really is. He's a born sweetheart.
Yeah.
And that I was always having to push him to be more mean because it doesn't come naturally to him.
So being the director, you had to sort of yell at, like, swear hard, like, kind of.
I didn't have to yell. I would just say, like, hey, I was just like, yeah, that last take, I still liked you.
Right.
So make it more, you got to really lose your temper here,
Right.
That kind of thing.
And also, too, is it true that your dad, because I actually I do morning radio, your dad used to be involved in radio?
Yeah, my mom and dad met at a Pacifica public radio station in LA, KPFK.
How cool. So did you ever spend any time in radio stations at all growing up?
No, by the time I was born, they weren't doing that anymore.
Yeah, and so now also too in the movie, you do this great impression, or I guess would you call it an impression, or this character that you sort of created, and then Scarlett Johansson also created this phenomenal character.
Yeah.
I mean, getting to direct her, what was that like?
I mean, she brought so much to this character.
Yeah.
Scarlett is so good in the movie. And, I was proud of what I wrote, but she really brought it to life. And so much of the nuance and the details, her nails, her gum, the way she just holds herself, that's her. And I think it's really important because I think oftentimes in movies, especially in comedies, and especially in comedies with a guy at the center of it, the female character sometimes gets sort of overly simplified and sort of demonized.
Right.
And this character could have gone that way if it didn't have a great actress there to make sure that it wasn't just a simple stereotype.
Right.
That it really is, a multifaceted person. And yes, it's still a comedy.
Right.
So it's not like a Cassavetes realism.
Right.
But she feels like a person. You know,
Yeah.
you see her strengths, you see her weaknesses, you see her charm and her heart, but you also see kind of the manipulative side of her.
Yeah.
And I love what Scarlett did in the movie.
Yeah, directing and acting together in one. How was that? Did you like doing that on the same movie?
I did, yeah. Well, I've made a ton of little short films and videos. For my 21st birthday, I got myself a copy of Final Cut, which is the software you use to edit. And now I'm 32, so I've been making these little things for 10 years or so. And I got used to seeing myself on screen and having to really judge myself. And I remember at first, you get freaked out seeing your own face or hearing your own voice, like, oh, I look weird, I sound stupid.
Yeah.
But if you just get used to it, practice, you know, I got to a point where I feel like I can be objective about what I'm doing.
Sure. In fact, I'm getting the rap. But have you been to Chicago before?
So briefly, I've never really spent much time here.
No.
I would like to, though. It's a beautiful, beautiful city.
Yeah, it is. So you should maybe like go to some restaurants or something. If
I should. One day
Yeah.
I'll get to be here for more than 24 hours.
Right.
And then I'll get to walk around, and hopefully it won't be in the wintertime.
Hopefully, yeah. No, stay away in the winter. Also, thank you for putting Channing Tatum in the movie, too.
Yeah.
He makes a little cameo.
Yes, he does.
For
Chan
them.
and Annie, we get to send up the rom-coms.
Right. And finally, do you have any take at all, everybody, because you have a little connection to it. Ben Affleck, Batman, any take on that?
I think he's going to be great at it. He's
Do
such
you?
a good actor. Absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, cool. Well, Joseph, thank you so much.
Thank
really
you.
nice to meet
Good
you.
to talk
Love
to you.
the movie.
Thank
Everybody
you.
needs to go see it. Yeah,
Thanks so
great.
much.
Thank you so much.